Happy Wednesday. It just went 13:13. I clocked the clock and clocked the clock. And I thought, let's do a little video. I'm going to answer a question from Ben, who's in my group. It's useful to have the group questions that people answer before they get access to the group, because they can put questions in there of things that they're expecting to learn from being in the group. And that's really useful for me because I can then deliver answers and answer those questions, which is really, really helpful. The question is, I want to experience personal and collective harmony, and I understand this will take practice. In your videos, you promise to help us with techniques on how to practice and integrate this magical truth. Dun, dun, dun. Really, there's no quick answer to this. Well, the quick answer is to take my weekend course, my weekend workshop, and to do the online course that will fully teach you psychic development and shamanic journeying, so that you've got all the pieces of the puzzle in there. But as a quick answer to this question, the practice for me would be on your first chakra, and that being the red ray body. The part of one's aura that's closest to the body, the red ray, the base chakra, to do with physical health, this physical existence, and our personal sense of security. When you say personal and collective harmony, I don't think that those are two separate things. I would invite you to work on personal harmony. Once that is obtained, collective harmony is exactly the same thing. There's no way that one can access collective harmony if one hasn't reached personal harmony. If you reach personal harmony, you will see that mirrored in the collective. So both of those are, for me, are the same thing, but the individual would work on the sense of personal harmony. Once that's obtained and the heart, the green ray, is opened, then the mirror and the reflective, the heart opening successfully, you will see, I see now the collective harmony, or the understanding in all beings. And for that to land, and for that to be okay, for everyone to be okay where they're at now, knowing that as a collective everything is as it should be. So to not confuse oneself with first personal, then I've got to work on the collective. Just work on your personal and that will mirror for you. So how would one reach a personal state of personal harmony? Personal harmony would be a heart open and a heart activation, but you wouldn't be able to reach your heart activation until your other three Nawi centers are vibrating, aligned, happy. Then this one can go. From a metaphysical standpoint, my understanding of the metaphysical is that in a green ray, fourth density vibration, all thoughts that we think of as thoughts now are beings. So all thoughts would be spirits, and on a collective level. So this is the idea that in our collective consciousness we have words for things. So at the moment, let's say diseases, let's take cancer for example, there will be a spirit of cancer, because it's at the moment is just a thought. We can think about it. It is manifested in our bodies, yes. But there would be it's like an archetypal energy would have an entire body, and all thoughts would be spirit beings. Our thoughts are alive in fourth density. meaning that they are creative. But in this reality, in this third density physical reality, we don't experience thoughts as beings. We experience thoughts as transient, in and out, and you can access a thought. So it's that idea that if you can't access a thought, then that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist as a possibility if it's inaccessible in thought. If we are able to access it in the thought realm, in the imagination realm, then it does exist. Okie dokie. And it exists via thoughts. So when we would leave this physical time space, we then, as tripart beings, whatever we think would be instantly manifested as our experience. Because we have a perception of a time lapse, it seems like what we're thinking doesn't instantly manifest, because there's such a delay that we, for some reason, haven't put two and two together yet. But that delay is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And then when your spiritual energy changes its identity. So its identity here is in this physical body. When it changes its identity and we die and we re-identify in the metaphysical, then it's very clear that our thoughts instantly become reality, become our experience. So if you believed something, that there was a hell after death, for instance, that would be your experience, but only momentarily, because the soul would realize it is creating it. As soon as you thought of something else, it would flip and change. That we do catch on rather quickly. Oh, okay, this is what's happening. The access to the thought, to the data, is the access to the experience. We're closing the gap on that. So we will be able to more instantly manifest that which we think. So it is of such importance at the moment to be really clear about the thoughts, to be able to choose the thoughts, to be able to understand one's thoughts, beliefs, patterns and programs, to analyse and to be able to pull back into space consciousness or to be in the human experience. It's really important at the moment to learn the difference, because we'll be moving into a space of thinking is more immediately becomes the experience of the entity. And how do we get to a state of harmony? The exercises is you would work up through the chakra system. You would work up through your nawis and start with the base chakra, which is security. There is a practice that I do absolutely every day, and it probably takes 2 minutes. I do it 3 times a day, probably for about 30 seconds. So I spend 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and I believe it's the most important practice to do. And my offering would be for you to do 3 times a day. Come to ask yourself, am I secure in this now moment? And to do that 3 times a day, and start with the base chakra, the security portal. And ask yourself in the morning, am I secure? Drop into yourself, into your body for 30 seconds and ask, do I feel secure in this now moment? Because that is the trick. You will find your personal harmony when the ability to come into presence is at your disposal. Because harmony can only come from full alignment in the present moment. Everything then makes sense. If we're off in our thinking, projecting into the past about things that have happened, therefore calculating things that we expect to happen, or projecting ourselves into the future about this is making up what's going to happen or living in the past. And most of our thoughts are living in the future or in the past, because we are a set of 95% the same thoughts as the day before. It's extremely rare that you have an original thought. And it is a good practice to decide how you want to choose. Decide how you want to think about things. And then when you get there, you will have the capacity to choose, because it's so often that everyone is just on rinse and repeat, 95% the same thoughts as the day before, and we don't even realise. There is no choice there. But finding a practice coming into the present moment, you will have more access to choosing your own thoughts, choosing your own reality, and therefore becoming the master of your own reality. And the first one to get to grips with is your sense of security, because if one doesn't feel secure, there's no way that you can access the present moment. If we are still traumatized, scared, fearful, coming from lack, worried about money, stressing over this, we're at the mercy of medication, and if something changes with the medication, that's not within our control. Therefore, it's threatening our own sense of personal security. That idea about, are we reliant on things? Are we reliant on this? Are we reliant on someone? Are we reliant on the system? That will threaten our sense of own personal security, because then somebody else is in control of your own personal sense of security. Somebody could come along. We've all got it in macro, micro sense, because everyone has a bank account. Everyone uses the internet on a day-to-day basis, and that's not within our control. If somebody just took your bank account away, the bank just went, nobody can access their money. Or your job went, yeah, we're only paying you 30% now. Or the country just said, yeah, we're turning off the internet. Those things are outside of our control. So the idea is of the spiritual security practice is that you are the only one responsible for your own sense of security. That any of those things could happen, but you would still be able to invoke your own sense of personal security and say, okay, whatever shows up in my reality, in my space, I know that I have the capacity, the ability to show up to it in a powerful way. I would, if I lost my job or this happened or that happened, I know within myself I would have the capability to do whatever it takes to survive. I would do this, I would do that, I would do the other. And that one's security doesn't come from anything outside of oneself. We're not looking to get security from parents. We're not looking to get security from money. We're not looking to get security from a job, from a house, from anything. That it is, whatever happens, I'll be okay because I know I'm resourceful. I will do whatever it takes. I can mop floors. I can do this. I can travel. I know within my heart the goodness in somebody else's heart. Therefore, if really, excuse the French, shit hit the fan, we would be okay because of humans coming together in human nature and that trust in the oneness of the love being the foundation of our sense of security, not culture, system, society, beliefs, programming, what we've learned at school, wrong, right. All of that doesn't exist. We put that to one side. There is no wrong and right. Doesn't matter. That is a belief system and a taught. Somebody has decided this. Yes, we have our own sense of values and what we would choose, but everyone is entitled to their choice and their feeling. So the first layer is asking yourself if you are secure. Am I secure in this now moment? And to do it 3 times a day. And be really honest with yourself. That you went, no, I don't feel secure today. Part of me is worrying about money. Part of me is worrying about this, that, and the other. And say, great, good catch. Put that to one side. And then ask yourself again, can I invoke a sense of security? Knowing that I am enough and I have what it takes, no matter what happens that's outside of my control. Know that I am secure. And this is the first practice in really strengthening the base chakra, strengthening that real sense of spiritual security. And you want a strong foundation to all of the rest of the Nawi centers, and they go and they'll turn on and activate as you go up. It's that Kundalini rising, you know, the snake spiraling like this up the spine. And it starts with, at the base, with your own sense of security, which is for most people reliant on someone else, something else, whatever it is outside of their control. And therefore it's out of balance. So, reaching personal harmony. Step 1, security. I realised when I was in hospital, a big piece of the security puzzle was that I related security to love. And that I thought love and security were the same thing. Because my parents provided a certain sense of security for me. That when you're a baby, they keep you safe, they keep you warm, they feed you, they clothe you. And I felt like love was security. And if somebody was making me feel secure, somebody was protecting me, somebody else was looking after me financially, emotionally, that meant that they loved me. And I realised, oh my goodness, I think security is love. And if somebody threatens my security, my brain goes, they don't love you. They can't love you because they're threatening your sense of personal security. And that was really interesting. And when I went, okay, nobody else is responsible for my security. Only me. I get to invoke this sense of personal security. Doesn't mean love. Then lots of my relationships changed. That dependency on other people, that needing of security and nourishment from other didn't exist anymore. Therefore, there wasn't a tension and a friction there. It was a really, really profound shift in my system. And I think part of that was unlocking that base chakra for me. And it happened when I was in hospital and I had this profound journey and realisation that that's what I thought love was. And I had this whole crying and I went, I have no idea what love is. Have I ever known real unconditional love, or have I been confused my entire life thinking that love is security? It was really interesting. And I hope that you have a similar journey and similar medicine with your own relationship to what security means to you. How that is in your system and how you access your own personal security. Leaving nobody else responsible for it other than you. I hope that's helpful. All my love, Puppy Chai.